Space Coconut.
Mid-chapter is releasing next week, and Archive, and Lunar New Year events. So yay! Next week is going to be the patch. Is the team aware about the FPS drops when playing Killer on the Switch?
Yeah.
But basically, switch cross progression when early Q2. So what does that mean? That means between April and June. Hopefully, more April than June. Any chance we can get more variation of the backwater swamp? It is so different than the other maps, and it would be great if it got some more love.
So, you know, it's going to have a rework treatment, but you're not going to see like a brand new one. No, I want to be super clear and make sure nobody gets their hopes up and misinterprets this.
Are there any plans to rework Addonfield? Because Addonfield's getting a lot of noises around it.
I mean, yeah.
Will we ever see support for ultra-wide aspect ratio? The game currently keeping the same horizontal field of view, making the camera feel zoomed in. Well then.
All we can say at the moment is that it's not in the immediate plan.
All right, this one is about the new UI. So in the new UI, killers are giving less hook information than Survivor. Why did we do it like that? And are we planning to change it? Is there going to be a possibility of being able to customize the HUD ourselves, put the widget where we want them on the screen, for example? So talking about the UI, we did receive a lot of feedback after PTB, or during PTB if you wish. So the plan here is basically not much has changed for the release. And we're going to go into this a little bit onto why. But what I'm saying today is that we're going to look at focused feedback specifically for UI for a few weeks after the release, after everyone, and not just only Steam players on the PTB, had their hands for a little while on the new UI. However, there's one thing we really wanted to address, though, and that will be done before the release, is the whole colorblind issue that was with the new UI. So we know that our colorblind player had a lot of difficulty reading the UI, so this is something that we pushed first to fix. All right, so before we hop on to more questions, I do think we had a raffle to do. One question on accessibility. Are there any plans to change the hook struggle mechanics to avoid having to spam the same key constantly?
There is work being done on it. There is active work being done. But when that will be completed and in your hands, I don't have anything concrete I can hand right now.
Can you address the longer survivor queues during nighttime?
Matchmaking in general is really hard and super challenging.
So with the upcoming skill-based matchmaking system, can you give more information on how the ratings will be determined? Example, what counts as a win, or how does it judge if you're doing good or bad? Like quite often, but will all killer eventually be getting their own custom chase music?
So we like it. We cannot promise that every killer is getting their own music.
Is there a key rework plan after the change to Mori's, and when will it be released?
So we do have a plan for keys. More changes coming for Mori, more changes coming for keys. It's still pretty early in that process, so we can't get more precise about it. But it's a larger change than what we did to the Moris. And honestly, I'm pretty excited about it.
Why can killer camp, slug, and tunnel it hand match so quickly for survivors? We don't want to remove these choices from the players. Sometimes camping is the right call to make if you know that someone's waiting to get the save, for example, or they just run into your face. That happens too. So, will we ever get blood points if someone disconnects before the match starts?
We've considered applying, to give you a preview of this, we've considered applying disconnection penalties to people leaving from pre-game lobbies. That's actually, the logic is already in. There's just a switch, we could turn it on, but we're not turning it on. It's not getting turned on. Don't make that be the takeaway. It exists.
Yeah. Let's just remove everything that was said in the last 15 seconds. Don't panic. Don't go right now to forums to scream about it. This is not something that's happening.
And I have
Let's repeat it, please, Patrick.
That is not a thing. We are not penalizing people from leaving the pre-game lobbies. The answer to the specific question of will we ever get blood points when somebody just quits a game right away, the answer I'm going to give you is maybe, probably not.
Will there ever be an option to save custom perk sets or randomize your perks? So not anytime soon, but it's on the list. Any plans for buffing the pig or other weaker killers? Do you have any plans in the work for the older killers in the game?
Yeah, sure. So we've been talking about the next 3 killers who are getting adjusted. We've mentioned in the past, but I'll just reiterate it on the stream because I know not everybody catches every single one. So the next pass, the next 3 killers are Freddy, Demogorgon, and Huntress.
Will there ever be other game modes added to DBD? Do we have any plans for this at the moment?
We don't have any plans for that right now.
Lack of changes planned for Objective Obsession was not very well received. Is there any change planned since then?
I don't know if I'm going to link this to any particular reception of anything else that we've said, but we do have something to talk about for Objective Obsession. We wouldn't usually pull something out this early, but because there has been a lot of discussion about the perk, we thought let's try something different and show you guys a work in progress design. So why don't we throw it on up there so we can just have you guys tell us what you think about the idea. It hasn't been programmed, right? This is super early, but we're like, we've talked about this perk, and this is an idea that has survived at least one round of discussion. We thought, you know what, let's go ahead and ask the community.
Just a note on this one. If y'all nice, and we can have actual discussions back and forth, feedback discussions and constructive feedback, this might be something that we do more often in the future, where we show you an early design and we ask for feedback. I think we had something else to show right now.
Yeah, so
talking about
that. So when would this change happen? No idea. We were bringing this up a lot earlier than we normally would. Call it an experiment. But we do have a change that's coming up soon. That's done and essentially ready. And let's go ahead and announce it. There's a perk that a lot of people like to talk about called Decisive Strike. So we have a change coming up for that, not in the mid-chapter, but in the chapter after that. So not next week, but the next thing that comes out after that is going to be the Decisive Strike change. We've talked about this perk a lot internally. There were a lot of different options we felt to assuage some of the frustrations that people feel about the perk. The direction we went with was disabling the ability if the survivor does actions that advance their objectives, essentially. So it stays available until you've, let's say, done something useful.
So if you're actually getting tunneled, you're going to be able to use DS. If you're aggressively repairing a generator in the vicinity, your DS is gone.
Yeah, and when we made this change, we expect that immediate feedback will include a lot of questions about whether you can still use a locker. And we didn't take that one lightly. There was a lot of discussion about that one. We talked amongst the designers, we talked to some players about this. And we decided that we were going to keep the locker behavior the way it is for now. It's something that you do in a chase. It can kind of force the conclusion of the interaction earlier than you would otherwise. And for right now, we think it's okay to stay. This is another thing you can give us feedback about if you disagree. We are going to be reading about these perk changes, I think, pretty closely.
Yep. Okay, so let's move on. So this is planned for next chapter patch, right? And not the next one over right now, not the mid-chapter.
It is coming in the chapter, not the mid-chapter.
So, okay, that one. How do you plan to deal with making the community happy with perks and the devs happy with perks at the same time to reduce controversy? We have a question about Energy. Energy Scream is super loud. Is this something that will get changed? Yes, it is a bug, and this bug will be addressed. Is it possible to get a notification during a match of when an archive challenge is completed? Ooh, that would be nice. I'm so ADHD, so would be really cool. But
I mean, the quick answer for that is definitely something that's on the list.
Will there be a game health chapter anytime soon? No, not in the way that we're seeing game health chapter, like having a chapter completely for that. All right, another question about daily rituals. So will there be any changes? Example, get more blood point, more variety, or one set for survivor and one for killer per day.
We're continuing to look at the daily rituals, but would not expect any major overhauls to the system or the ratio of the challenges that you're seeing anytime in the near future.
With the change to survivor animation, can we expect new killer animations? Yay. Fix hitboxes. So we're going to invite you to look into our YouTube. We had a whole stream discussing hitboxes and invalidation. All right. When can we look forward to a more stable server experience?
They're hard.
Early game mechanics.
It's something different, which we'll talk about later.
Is there a plan to reduce the game's grind? There is a lot of perks in the game and tier 3 of each, and it's ever increasing.
Is there a concrete plan right now? No. But we are looking at it. We're trying to build that plan out and figure out the best way to do it while maintaining the fun of progressing in the game, but without making it feel like you just are trying to climb an unscalable cliff face.
All right. So I think that before we end the stream, I think there was something in chat I've seen about
Once
or twice. Point of view, maybe once or
Blight,
twice.
Yeah, I think yeah. So let's go ahead. We can answer this one. Yes, there were changes made for the Blight's first-person animations and the camera point of view. So we talked about Legion. We identified the issue. It was acceleration during the frenzy attack. Specifically, that has been fixed, and that is coming not in the release, but in the first follow-up patch. We sometimes call them hotfix patches or follow-up patches or bug fix patches. That'll be coming in a follow-up patch to the mid-chapter. So before the chapter, after the mid-chapter, there's a fix for Legion's Frenzy Swing. You guys really helped us out with that one.
Yep.
All right. Okay, folks. That's gonna have to be the end of the stream.